Welcome to the Valentino IRL podcast. Today we're tackling one of the grittier forms of fantasy storytelling. So with that being said, how would you define sword and sorcery?
Sword Sorcery is a genre of fantasy fiction that typically features the exploits of mercenary characters who are hunting for treasure or some sort of magical artifacts. And in these quests, the hero tends to face off with necromancers and encounters monstrous tribulations. These stories typically occur in archaic worlds that have some degree of a supernatural ambience to them.
What is your opinion on the current state of sword and sorcery as a mode of entertainment?
I would say that there are up cycles and down cycles with any form of fiction, and this category of fantasy is no different. But the fact is that the sword and sorcery genre has actually been around now for almost 100 years, and it is still prominent across multiple mediums, whether in video games or comics, films or television. It has been influential, and while that popularity may wane at times, the genre has proven to be very resilient and consistent, and I think that it is long overdue at this time for a resurgence in one form or another.
What is it about the sword and sorcery genre that makes it so enduring?
I think that one of the key features of the genre is that it allows us to see ourselves in relation to primal man. And many of these stories are, in a sense, fantastical retellings of human prehistory. Also, there is an age-old argument about barbarism versus civilization that Robert E. Howard had with his contemporaries. And so these are the kinds of substantive questions that underlie much of the genre.
What element does sword and sorcery have that other genres of fantasy may lack?
The film critic Douglas Cowan talks about this idea of sacred terror, and he explains how horror films allow people to externalize their fears. And to borrow his terminology, I would say that at its best, the sword and sorcery genre can also evoke a sense of sacred terror in the reader. I would say that when Conan battles some of his more uncanny foes like the Changeling or Shumagorath, that there is a real sense of this kind of sacred terror. And that's where I think that the genre succeeds, when it effectively embodies a fear of the unknown.